What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? My name is Felix, and we are gathered here today to learn some FL Studio knowledge. So, how are you doing today? I hope you're not gonna get the coronavirus, because that's the only thing that anyone can talk about these days. But what we're gonna talk about this day, right here today, is we're gonna talk about how I mix my beats in FL Studio, and I'm going to teach you guys how to mix your beats in FL Studio as well. So the first thing that I'm going to say is it's probably way easier than you thought it would be, and you're going to be probably maybe surprised. So yeah, today we're going to get into that. Also, I would say to go down in the description below, venture down there and check out my playlist of songs that I've produced on, all platforms, every single platform. And I recently did a poll actually where apparently you guys listen to Spotify more than anything else. So yes, there's a Spotify link down there as well. You guys want to hear some unreleased music? Here's a snippet real quick. Okay, that's as much as you're getting, but that song's pretty good and it's hopefully coming out soon, so stay tuned for that. Alright, let's get into the video. Okay, so here we are at the computer. I have this beat that I have already finished and mixed and mastered, but what we're going to do is we're going to reset all the effects and we're going to re-mix and master it so you guys can see how I do it in real time. So here's how the beat sounds, already like mixed and mastered and stuff. Okay, so it's a pretty simple beat, nothing too crazy, nothing too wild, but what we're going to do is we're going to turn all these little knobs here, we're going to reset them, click reset, click reset, click reset. Okay, so I just reset those, and now I'm going to go over to the mixer, and I'm going to reset those as well. Okay everybody, I have just reset all of this stuff on the master track. There's a few different effects on there, but I'll explain why I kept those in a second. Everything's at 0, there's no EQs or anything on it, because that's the mixing stuff that we're gonna get into today. So, as you can see, I have some reverb on here. The reverb I am not taking off because it's kind of just like an optional thing, and it's kind of just gonna depend on what instrument you have in your track. But normally I'm gonna put reverb on stuff, unless the plugin already has reverb on the instrument. But yeah, then I have this delay on here because I like this how this delay sounded with this instrument. Just a little delay. And then everything else, this right here is an automation clip, so I kept that because I didn't want to have to redo that. But yeah, other than that, now we can get started on mixing and mastering. The first thing is, always, before you put any drums, any plugins, anything into your project, you're gonna put a soft clipper on your master, and it's gonna go just like this. Watch this. You can go all the way to the bottom, go all the way to the bottom. That'll be the best for you. Go to 10, select, soft clipper, boom. Don't do anything else, that's all you have to do. And now your drums will punch hard and it won't blow your speakers out or your headphones out or whatever you're using. And that's very nice, that's a very nice feature. So now I'm gonna play it to you how it sounds without any mixing or mastering, and you're gonna hear how crappy it sounds. It sounds quite bad, so we're not going to have it like that. We're going to adjust some volumes, we're going to put some effects, we're going to make it sound nice. So the first thing that I usually do is I won't have all of these patterns separated, so I'll have all the drums playing together. So that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to solo all the drums and stuff and all the automations, because if you don't solo the automations too, it'll mess everything up. So here are the drums just on their own. As you can hear, the drums don't sound that bad, but they need a little bit of tweaking to make them sound good. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in here to the channel rack, and we're going to open up this bad boy here, and we're just going to play it. So hit the space bar and make sure this up here is on song, not pattern, or else it won't do that. So we're just going to go in and we're going to adjust the volumes, and for this all you need to do, you kind of need to have a little bit of a good ear, but for most of you, you should be able to recognize, like, if something sounds too loud, turn it down. If something sounds too quiet, bring it up. What you want to have is nothing sounding too loud and nothing sounding too quiet. You want to have it pretty consistent. But yeah, so basically you're gonna go in, maybe turn this 808 down, turn these hi-hats down quite a little bit, turn this open hat down, turn this clap down a little bit, turn this weird percussion down, and then this crash we're going to turn down a lot because it's very loud. now that we have the drums kind of a little bit shaped up a little bit, what we're going to do is we're going to go in here, right click all of the melody, and we're going to just play this all together and do basically the same thing that we just did. Wait a second. We're going to go in here, do that. Okay. As you can hear, they're very clashing, very loud. So most of this stuff we're going to just by default turn it down. Okay, so now that we've done that, that's about good for where we are right now, because we're going to adjust it a little bit more detailedly in the mixer. So now what we're going to do is we're going to head over to the mixer. So once you're in the mixer, and once you have put all these into your channels, and the way you do that, a quick way to do that is, let's say you have this clap, right? What you would do is when you have this screen open up, you would hit Control and then L, and then it would assign it to a mixer track. So that's a quick and easy little hack, little hotkey for you. What I'm gonna do first is actually all the drums again. Oh, also, one thing I forgot to reset is all of these stereo and mono things, but those will not be the way that I just had them when you open up a project. But we will do that as well, because that's part of the mixing process. Okay, so a good kind of rule of thumb is you want to have the kick probably be the loudest, and then your 808 probably maybe the second loudest, and it kind of will sit right around where the clap or your snare is. So these three, or these three right here. So yeah, just go by ear for that. And then your hi-hats, as you can see, they're panned a little bit to the right, so I'm gonna adjust that and move it to the left a little bit. And then turn those down quite a bit, because you don't want those to be like really piercing your ears. And then the open hat, you wanna have lower than the regular hi-hats. And then you can make it stereo if you want a little bit. And then this little weird thing here is just a different percussion than I had. It sounds like that. It's kind of a weird sound. It's panned a little bit to the left, so I'll pan it to the right a little bit. So now your drums should sound like this. And then one last thing that I like to do with my kick and my 808 is you will go down here and then click this little arrow, but make sure that you have the kick selected. So click on the actual kick track, but then go down here and click this. And now you'll see like a full circle thing. What you want to do with this full circle thing is just drag it all the way down. So you're turning the volume all the way down on that thing. So now what I'll do over here is, a lot of times I like to put a delay on my 808, which is a little weird, but what I like to do is I like to go presets and then widen and then turn this pan up. So now it's going to be wide in your headphones. But sometimes it pans it to the left a little bit, so I usually have to pan it back to the right. And then I like to make it a little bit more mono, because I feel like that preset makes it really wide, so I like to bring it down a little bit. So what I just did when I attached the kick to the 808, we're going to go back to that and finish what we started. So down here, I'm going to go in, select, and put a limiter in. We're going to go to comp, which is compression, and then we turn the sidechain up to 1, and then turn this threshold down, and then turn the knee and ratio up, and then this bad boy here down pretty low. And then just adjust that to where you see fit. I like to have it not be too, not have the threshold be too low, because otherwise it sounds kind of like weird. It kind of messes it up too hard, but I usually keep it like around here. So what we just did was we sidechained the kick and the 808. So basically, if I go here, you can do this by clicking Alt-W. You'll be able to see the waveform. When the kick hits, the 808's volume will dip down, basically. You can't really see that well, but you can see in the distinction between the orange and the yellowish parts. Basically what that does is the kick and the 808 are fighting for the same kind of frequency space. What it does is it gives the kick more room so that the 808 and the kick aren't clashing with each other. So now that we have that out of the way, we can move on to the melody. So these are gonna be loud, so we'll also, I'm going to go back to Alt-W. If you like to have the waveform being shown, go ahead and keep it like that, but I like to have the volumes being shown. So, we're going to go here to the melody. So there's a couple key things that you want to keep in mind when you're mixing the melody. You want to be able to pick out what is going to be your main sound, and for me, it's this, I think. And you want to adjust the volume to where that's going to be kind of the bass. That's going to be probably like the loudest thing. So then everything else you can turn down a little bit more. And then usually what I do is I just do one instrument, and then I go to the next one, then I go to the next one, then the next one, until they all sound perfect together. So this is kind of like a Rhodes or electric piano. So I'm going to turn this down. And that's just there so that it complements the main sound. And then we have this thing with the delay on it that I played earlier. And I want that to kind of sit below, so I'm going to bring the volume down. As you can hear, it's kind of in the background, it's not too loud. And now this bad boy right here, which is the main lead synth, we're going to bring that down quite a bit because it's pretty loud and blaring. But what we're also going to do is we're going to EQ it, and all these things are going to get an EQ. Most melodic kind of plug-in sounds, you're probably going to want to put an EQ on to clean it up a little bit. Okay, so now that we're done for the volume adjusting for the most part, what we're going to do now is we're going to adjust the stereo on each one of them so that they sound wide in your ears. So this bad boy here, I'm going to start with because I know I want this to be wide. And then I want this delay kind of string sound to be even wider. And sometimes for strings, what I like to do actually is I like to go in here, go to select, and then go to stereo enhancer, and then go here, and then go presets, and for strings. And that'll make it extremely wide. So for this one, I didn't do that, so I'm not gonna do it. But sometimes it might sound good and you might like it. And you can use that for other stuff too, you don't have to use it for strings. So now I'm gonna move on to the Rhodes. And now the main instrument. Okay, so we're pretty much done with that. As you can see, I was adjusting the volumes a little bit as I went along. It's never gonna be completely perfect. You're always gonna be kind of adjusting things here and there. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the EQs, and the EQs are pretty simple. What I usually do with my EQs is I solo each one, and then I put the EQ on, and I cut out a lot of the low end frequencies so it doesn't clash with the 808. So usually what I do is I'll go to this purple one and drag this all the way down until you get this little curve to the left, and then I'll drag this all the way down. And then kind of boost it with the 3 maybe. So that one was pretty fine. There wasn't a lot of like too much low end. Now we're gonna do this one. Same procedure. I'm gonna cut out some of the higher end here because we have that lead that I kind of want to be higher end. Okay, so now we'll do these strings. These ones kind of sound like they have a bandpass filter on them already, which a bandpass filter is a filter where it cuts out the high end and the low end. A low pass filter is where you let the low end pass. So you cut out the high end, and then a high pass filter is where you cut out the low end and have the high end pass through. So yeah, basically that's a quick lesson for those of you who don't know. But yeah, this procedure, same thing. And as you can see, there's a little bit of high end. If you want to get rid of that high end totally, just do the same procedure except for with the blue one with the number 7, and the curve is going to go to the right instead of the left, and then you're still going to go all the way down to the 4 dots. There you go, you have that. And now the last one, this little synthiness. What I'm going to do, I already have a preset for this. It's called my telephone, but it's just a bandpass filter. And the way you make that is you literally do the same thing I did in the last instrument, but I just have this one saved as a preset, which I could have done in the last one too, but I just wanted to show you guys. So now when you play it with the drums all together, it should sound good, like this. So basically you're pretty much done at this point. The only thing that sometimes I will do is I will go above the soft clipper, make sure anything you do is above the soft clipper, and then go select. And then, this is on the master track, by the way. I don't know if I said that, but whatever. You go to multiband compressor, and then go this little arrow, presets, and then go mastering 2.4, and then make sure you turn the limiter off. So that might sound a little muddy. It depends on the track that you're working with, but that'll just give it some added volume. A lot of times I'll turn the gain down. And that doesn't sound bad, it makes it kind of slap harder, but I am just going to delete it because I didn't do that with the original mix. So yeah, basically that's pretty much it for this video. I know it was probably a lot simpler than a lot of you guys thought it would be, but yeah, that is like pretty much my complete process for mixing and mastering beats. And surprisingly enough, there's not that much to it. So yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed and you were able to gain some knowledge from this video. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments below. And while you're down there, make sure you check out my Instagram, my SoundCloud, all the songs that I've produced. There's some playlists down there of them if you'd like to check those out as well. So yeah, again, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time.
What's on your mind? Tell me what you thinking. Why you keeping secrets? Arguing, fight, but I'm always the reason. Sleepless.